In this tutorial, I'll take you on a quick tour of the vintage electric piano's interface. But before I do so, I want to show you the different ways that you can instantiate the vintage electric piano into your Logic project. Now, if you've ever used Logic before, you know that when you create a software instrument track, you can always go to your inspector, and in the channel strip here in the instrument slot, you can click and you will see a menu of all of the available software instruments that come with Logic and your third-party AU instruments down at the bottom. Here you see the vintage electric piano. I can select that and it will instantiate the vintage electric piano as an instrument into my project. Of course, also, you're probably familiar with the library. And in the library, I have my categories here for a software instrument track because the software instrument track is selected. And in my categories, closer to the bottom, I see the vintage electric piano category. If I click that, I get a group of patches that will instantiate the vintage electric piano in the instrument slot, but also give me different processing and routing that will give me the sound to represent these different patches that you see here. Now there's a subcategory here called experimental. And if you go under experimental, some of these patches will instantiate plugins other than the vintage electric piano. For example, if I choose the curly whirly, that is actually using sculpture instead of the vintage electric piano. So this first list of patches here, these are all using the vintage electric piano. Once you're here, then they could be using other software instruments, but some of them are vintage electric piano also. They all give you the sound of some type of electric piano. They just use different software instruments as the source. Okay, so those are two pretty obvious ways. One way that you may or may not be as familiar with is when you go to create a new track in Logic, and I just deleted the track that was in my project, and anytime there's no tracks in Logic, the new tracks dialog will appear and you have to choose what kind of track you want. In the new tracks dialog, if I have software instrument selected, here in the detail section, if you can't see the detail section, make sure you click this disclosure triangle here to show your detail section. You'll see instrument here, and under the instrument slot, you can click here and you have the exact same menu that you saw on your inspector in the instrument slot. So I can choose any of the virtual instruments, software instruments that come in Logic, or any of my AU instruments. But you can also choose the default patch. And the default patch in Logic is the vintage electric piano. If you were a user of Logic with Logic 9, anytime you created a software instrument track, it automatically created a track with what was called at the time the EVP88, which now is called the vintage electric piano, and it's updated, but it's pretty much the same thing. You have an option now to have an empty channel strip. You saw it to be kind of my default when I got rid of the track and the new tracks dialog appeared, but you can always go default instrument and say create, and it'll automatically create the classic electric piano, which is using the vintage electric piano plugin. Okay, so now that you know how to instantiate the vintage electric piano into your project, let's look at the graphical user interface. The vintage electric piano is divided into 4 different areas. At the top here, you have the control bar. Beneath the control bar, you have your central area. Then beneath that, you have your main area. And then here at the bottom, if I click this disclosure triangle, you have your extended parameters. Let's go back up to the control bar. In the control bar, you have your model pop-up menu. And if you click here, you'll see a list of all of the different emulations that the vintage electric piano comes with. The vintage electric piano emulates several different Rhodes models, Horner electric piano models, and Wurlitzer models. To the right of the model pop-up menu, you'll see a button that will allow you to show your effects. By default, the effects are showing, and you see them down here in the main display. The effects that are built into the classic electric piano are the EQ, the drive, the chorus, the phaser, and tremolo. Next to the effects, you have a button that will allow you to see your details. And the detail button shows you parameters in your main display. that will allow you to alter the tone of the vintage electric piano and also allow you to alter the playing behavior of whichever selected model that you choose from this list. Beneath the control bar here in the central area, you have your bass boost and your volume. The bass boost will allow you to boost the bass or cut the bass of your sound. Now, this parameter is actually taken from a control that was found on the original Rhodes piano, as you can see in this image here. And of course, the volume knob does exactly what you think it does. It allows you to set the overall volume of the vintage electric piano. At the very bottom, in the extended parameters, this slider here allows you to adjust your delay in milliseconds when you play or strike a key very softly. And this one allows you to set the delay in milliseconds when you strike the key with force or hard. The MIDI mode pop-up menu just allows you to determine how the vintage electric piano responds to MIDI controllers. Over the next several tutorials, we will concentrate on the different effects.